Hello, hello, hello. This is a pop-up Anunnaki live question and answer session by Billy Carson. Welcome to the pop-up show tonight. Normally, Roderick Martin would be in this space with this podcast, Why the Big Secret. However, due to the winter storm going on in Texas, he cannot be on tonight. So I decided to pop on up and do a live Q&A with you guys tonight. All right. So thank you. I see the chat filling up pretty quick here. Everyone's loading on in. Everyone who was at the Manifest Destiny workshop this Sunday, peace and blessings to you. It was an amazing workshop. If you were at the workshop and you're on this this live stream right now, give a shout out in the comments. Let everybody know you were there. It was 11 and a half hours. 11 and a half hour class. We went in deep. We went into the mind and the power of the mind. We went into the biology of how the mind works so we can understand where our weaknesses are located so we can bring awareness to them. That was Elizabeth Hoekstra's part. Then we had Antonina Ashford come on and do a live guided trauma release session for about 45 minutes. And then we had Tim Story come on and do some nice inspiration and motivational talking to get people to move, to flip that switch to go from stagnant to active. And then I came on and I brought it home for about 6 hours straight on nothing but science and manifesting. It was an amazing class. So we had a few people here I see. Let's see who was there. New Trend Technologies says, let me see if I can, these things are moving so fast. Wow. Okay. Says, loved it. It was great. Manifesting magic. This Tim Story was great. Who else we got? Antonina was awesome. It was amazing. Okay. Beautiful. See a lot of people here were in that class. I'm just looking up at the screen, trying to see if I can catch as many of you as I can. It was so many of you in there. I appreciate every single one of you. It was an amazing class. If you missed it, they have a free replay for life, but the edited version is coming out in about a couple of days. You'll be able to get it on Forbidden Knowledge TV as a pay-per-view. You'll have to pay a little bit more because it's only fair to the people that actually went and saw it live. So instead of it being $99, it'll be $149, but it'll be unlimited replays for life as well. Okay. So thank you to everyone that was at the Manifest Destiny workshop in the month of January, which is not over yet because today is the last day. We had two super powerful, amazing workshops. The Blueprint for God Power, which was 10 and a half hours. And then we had the Manifest Destiny workshop, which was 11 and a half hours. You can't get that kind of teaching anywhere else on this planet. You're just not going to get it. Not in this arena of knowledge and wisdom. You're just not going to get that kind of dedication from the people that have the wisdom and the knowledge. Most people can't stand to talk for over an hour, 2 hours. By the third hour, man, you forget about it. They're roasted and toasted. And we give you everything we literally have. We give it all, and then we give more on top of the all. All right. So we appreciate you guys. It was amazing. What an amazing class to be a part of. What an amazing Sunday. We taught a lot of amazing information. So we're going to make a couple of announcements tonight. The chat's filling up live, but we are going to do some Q&A. And so I'll mix my announcement up in between the Q&A so we have a little fun with it. But I'm really looking forward to getting into this Anunnaki Q&A tonight. Let's just see. Brooke Guthrie, I was there. Every speaker was amazing, life-changing, and your manifesting seminar. Thank you, Brooke. All right. Hey. Algator says, meet me in the green room, Billy. You'd have to be there to know what that meant. That's a special term now. We know the people who come into the green room, that's our inner circle of people. We know what that means now. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, everyone. Oh, Abraham says the Blueprint for God Power was great. Thank you, Abraham. How do we get the other files from Google Chat? Didn't get mine. So Judith Youngbird, if you didn't see the email, which was sent out probably about maybe 10 times now, email business@forbidden knowledge and We'll send you the link to the Google Drive to download all the files. Also, you can go to the replay link, and underneath the video, in the replay link, it's right there posted right underneath the video. You can click on it underneath the replay link, click on the Google Drive folder. It'll open up and all your free books will come right to you. And what did they get, guys? They got a lot of free books, didn't they? They got a lot of free books. They got Woke Doesn't Mean Broke, 688 pages. They got the manifesting journal, so they can journal all their manifesting and have complete instructions on how to do it on a daily basis and keep track of your journaling and your manifesting. And they got about another 8 or 9 other incredible books that were in there and documents to utilize for the power for manifesting, all included with the class. Just these 2 books alone cost the same amount as the class if you were to buy them on Amazon. And then we gave away 4 people one $50 Amazon gift cards at the very end. I'll tell you their names real quick before we start the Q&A. They were, let's see if I got it up here. Okay. Oh, they're on the computer upstairs. Yeah, they're on the other computer that's upstairs. So, but I'll make a formal post and announce those people's names. At the very end, we did a random selection from people who text us #manifest, and 4 people won $50 Amazon gift cards. All right. So it was a great day. So we're going to do a couple of Q&As, and then I'll make an announcement. There's some more Q&A. Then I'll make another announcement, so forth and so on. All right. But tonight, we're going to really dig deep into some Q&A. If you have any Q&A about the Anunnaki, I know a lot of people say, man, we want to hear about the Anunnaki. We want to hear about the Anunnaki a lot. And obviously, I'm considered an expert on the Anunnaki. Actually, I have a brand new series that we've been working on called Anunnaki History. It's a TV series exclusively on Forbidden Knowledge TV. It's in the beginning stages. I was going to release it earlier last year and into the mid-year. And then I realized it needed to be another level higher. And I wanted to be able to bring something that will be considered to be the highest production quality for this type of content, because nobody has ever done that before other than Ancient Aliens. So I wanted to bring something on the level of Ancient Aliens or even higher. And so that's why we delayed it. And now that the budget came through to do it, we're building it based off of a new budget, a whole new concept of doing it and shooting it. Some will be on site, not just all in studio with clips playing. Some will be, me standing at some of these locations, talking live on site. So it's going to be an amazing series. It's going to take you deep into the history of the Anunnaki. We're going to go all the way back to the Pleiadian star system. We're talking about millions of years ago, where the story really begins. And then we're going to move forward in time. All right. So it's going to be amazing. Thank you, Judith Bird. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the donation. And please don't forget to email business@forbiddenknowledge.com to get your Google Drive link if you can't find it. All right. So let's start off with the Q&A. One quick question. Somebody says, how can I come to Egypt with you? Good question. If you see me looking up, that's because I'm going to my monitor above the camera. All right. So let me just get this link here and drop it in the chat for anyone who does want to come to Egypt with me. We just took 70 people to Egypt in this last October of 2022, a life-changing trip. You can see the video highlights on this YouTube account. 70 people that had the most incredible time of their lives. Memories that they'll never forget. And I was your guide. I was their guide. So I'll be your guide again this year in October. And if you want to go, there's 2 tours. One tour is 10 days and a second tour is 4 days. I'll be there back to back, just hanging out, waiting for the second tour group to come. But I'm going to give you the link right now to the tour. If you want to be a part of the tour of Egypt, I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now so that you guys can, if you want to find out how to get a chance to register for that, Forbidden Tour of Egypt. All right, I'm dropping a link in the chat. And I'll also add it to the caption of this video later. But it's on forbiddenknowledge.com, and just go to Forbidden Tours and you'll find the tour of Egypt right up there at the top. We're also going to go to Cambodia in November. So I'm taking people to Cambodia. Right now, we already have 30 people registered for Cambodia. We only have room for 20 more people who want to go to Cambodia. Cambodia is a beautiful place. The most amazing sights you're ever going to see, the most amazing temples, Angkor Wat, the largest temple complex in the world. You see some of the most incredible carvings and engravings. Hike up Kulin Mountain, the River of 1,000 Lingas, the 90-meter waterfall, swim with monks. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be mind-blowing. So Cambodia is also on forbiddenknowledge.com. Just go to the forbiddenknowledge.com website and look for the tours. I'll be your guide once again, okay? Because I know all about Cambodia. I've been there, and I can take you on a tour of Cambodia that's going to blow your mind. And by the way, when we go on these tours, we only stay in 5-star hotels, and everything is the finest. We don't slack. We don't slack. We don't cut corners. We don't cheap it. We don't try to get discounts. Me personally, I don't believe in discounts. I don't believe in discounts. I don't believe in getting the hookup and all that kind of stuff. I just don't believe in that. To me, when I take that mindset, what I'm telling the universe is I don't believe abundance is guaranteed. I don't believe I'm abundant. And so I don't care. I don't want discounts. I don't want to say, now, if I happen to stumble across something that's a good deal, don't get me wrong, I'm going to take advantage of it. But I'm not actively hunting. Some people will come to me, and because of who I am, they'll give me a deal. And I tell them, no, I want to pay the full price. I'm not hunting and looking for a special. I'm not going to drive 2 more blocks away to get a discount. So when we take people on these tours, we take everything first class. I spare no expense. Security, this and that, everything we need, first class treatment all the way, just so you can know. And you don't need to get the thingamajig. You don't need the thingamajiggy. I don't do that. We don't do that for none of the trips I go on. I've never had it, never will, not going to, and it's not required for the places that we go anyways. I've been around the world. If you look at my Google travel history, which I posted on YouTube community and Instagram and Facebook, you'll see that I visited 11 countries, traveled around the world 5 times in 2022, over 120,000 miles in 1 year, spent 6 months of the year last year in hotels, and never had to get the thing, not once. They had people thinking you had to get that, but you never had to. You just read the small print. All you had to do was have be negative on your test, and that was it, which was a piece of cake. So it was so easy. Anyway, let's get to some Q&A, guys. Who has some questions and answers who has some questions so I can answer, for the Anunnaki, about the Anunnaki, all right? Let's see what we got here. All right. There we go. Here goes a good question. Dr. Paul, Global Millennium NGO. What happens if the Black Knight satellite is shut down? Will the hologram be deactivated and will we see the real universe? That's a good question. I don't know if the Black Knight satellite is projecting a hologram. I think that the whole universe is a hologram. That's just my personal opinion. I believe that the whole universe itself is a hologram and that we are a fractal of light in this matrix, and we're fully immersed in the hologram. Therefore, we can't fully detect that we're in it. But now new quantum physics between 2020 and 2022 has now made it official. The official consensus among experts in theoretical physics and supersymmetry is that we're living in a programmed light matrix. And I think that the Black Knight satellite, if it were shut down, what it would probably do is just lose this orbit and have a degrading orbit and eventually crash back into the Earth, or they'd have to, shoot it down to prevent it from hitting maybe a populated area. But I don't think that it's exactly the thing that's creating the hologram. I think the hologram is being created from a much higher dimension. And if you look into quasi-crystals, there's something called 8th dimensional quasi-crystals, which we've now been able to replicate in a laboratory setting. And an 8th dimensional quasi-crystal reflects a 4th dimensional cube, which then gives a shadow of a 3-dimensional sphere. So we're living in the shadow of a higher dimension. That's exactly what this realm is created, and it's created by light. Okay, I saw another question here. I'm going to start trying to get to these as quick as I can. Thanks a lot, Kazit. All right, let's see here. Let me get here. Boom. Do you think the Anunnaki gods' wings were mechanized and arc powered with ethereal energy? Also, can they harness cosmic energy? Good question, Johnny Chan. So the wings on the back of the Anunnaki that you see depicted, carved into stone all over the world, literally, you can find them in Mexico, in Ecuador, in South America. You can find those same carvings in Iraq. And so we know that these beings are global beings. They were part of a global civilization. It was the Atlantean people. And they had, when you see them with the wings on their back, a lot of the times you'll also see them with a bird face. The bird face was not their real face, because we clearly see them as well with human heads. So we know, or humanoid heads, I should say. They weren't human, but they had humanoid heads. And so we know that the wings depicted flight, the capability of flight. The tablets themselves reference the fact that they would put these eagles' masks on when they would travel into space. So they had the capability of space travel, and the eagle's mask would be used in one particular tablet. They go to Mars. I'm sorry, not to Mars. I'm sorry. They go to the moon, and on the moon, they had to put their eagle's mask on before they stepped out of the ship, because the atmosphere was thin. This is an ancient tablets. These tablets are like 8,000 years old, and they're talking about putting eagle's masks on because the atmosphere is too thin. This is crazy stuff, but I mean, what better way to convey your message than to put it in stone so it can last through the test of time? And so the wings, though, depicted their ability for flight. And so I'm doing a whole series on the wings and how they flew, and some of the depictions that are talked about in the ancient stone tablets of what people witnessed as they flew. It's going to be pretty incredible. So that's coming very, very soon. All right, let's see here. Nick Brown, where are the Anunnaki and why haven't they returned? Good question. Part answer to that is some of them never left. When you look into some of the tablets, there was a war, that last pyramid war, which you can find evidence of that last war at Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley, where you can see the bodies of people still holding hands dead in the street, and their background radiation is higher than background radiation levels should be. So that means that they were nuked, and the buildings that they lived in are still there, partially standing, but the mud bricks have been turned into glass, so they've been vitrified. Vitrification typically happens when you hit around 3,000 degree temperature blasts, and so the entire region was vitrified. So was the Giza Plateau. One of the biggest reasons for that the fact that the Nile doesn't run right up to the pyramids anymore, and it's all sand and desert, is vitrification. If you put your hand in the sands at Giza, you can begin to pull up balls of glass in certain areas, which lets you know that there was a war there that extended to that region as well. And all around that region, we begin to find places where there seems to be some type of weapon signature that has left vitrified buildings behind, as well as remnants of ancient cities that look like they were destroyed. And so during this situation in the tablets, some of these beings said they were going to forego and they were going to leave, and they left, and some of them stayed. So I do believe that in some weird way, they're still around us today, because I believe their offspring are still here walking amongst us, and you wouldn't be able to detect them or differentiate them from a normal person at this point. And then the other answer is the ones that did go, when will they return? They always claim to be coming back, or we will return. We're coming back at some point in the distant future. For us, it seems like a long period of time that they've been gone. But for these beings who live for eons, they've only been gone for a little while. It's like they just went around the corner to the corner store and they're coming back. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, some of the oldest texts on the earth, 36,000-year-old texts, Thoth the Atlantean says that far in the future, an enemy will come from deep space. And he says that the person that is wise enough to raise his ship from underneath the Sphinx will be able to defeat them with ease. So according to him, far in the future, in some deep future time, there is going to be some type of situation we might face in space. Maybe it's the Anunnaki returning to take claim for this planet. I don't know. That's a good question. Trina Red, did the Anunnaki make us or tamper with our genetics? Great question. So this is what happened. The Anunnaki didn't make human beings. We were already here, but it wasn't human. It wasn't Homo sapien sapien. It was our cousins. We had cousins here. Okay. our cousins were hominids, upright bipedal bilateral hominids that look very similar to us. Their bones have been found all over the world, even though they claim they can't find the missing link. These bones look just like us, except their heads and skulls are much bigger jaws. These people were massive. They had bigger brains. They may have been more intelligent than us spiritually, probably had larger pineal glands. And then at some point, the Anunnaki, who were mining, according to them, not according to me, mining this planet for resources, creating a breakaway civilization for themselves, and doing a lot of hard labor, were getting ready to go to war against each other because one faction didn't want to keep doing all the work. And they were like, well, how come we're working like slaves, so on forth and so on. So what they did was they came to an agreement. This is in the Epic of Atrahasis, by the way. If you read the Epic of Atrahasis, they came to an agreement that they could take the existing hominid on this planet, see existing already here, and they could genetically modify it by adding their essence to it. That's a genetic modification, and get it to do the labor for them. So they didn't make people from scratch. They genetically modified a cousin of ours, a deep and in antiquity cousin, and created from there Homo sapiens sapien. And how did they do it? Isis, world famous Isis from her all about from the Egyptian text. She said, this process of cloning the beings is taking too long and tedious. They need to replicate for themselves. So she took one of these hominid cousins of ours, took the egg out of the womb, cleared out some of the genetic material, added their essence or genetic material, created a zygote, basically in modern terms, as we call it a zygote now, inserted it into her womb, and took the baby to term for 10 months. And then there's a famous cylinder scroll with this whole story. She's holding the baby up after 10 months. She says, "My hands have made it." The Adamu, which means first man, Adamu. That's where Adam comes from in the modern day Bible, the name Adamu, which means first man. And so there began the first Homo sapien sapien, the more advanced version of a Homo sapien that can actually go out and reproduce by having sex with its mate, and then they can have offspring and so forth and so on. And they weren't the first, and they weren't the only Homo sapiens that were done in this way or born in this way. There were dozens and dozens, because they understood that you had to have a diverse genetic pool or gene pool to be able to continue to build a population without having birth defects and genetic deformities. Anybody who's still walking around this planet that believes that two people populated the earth, they got to be out of their doggone minds. They got to be whoo-hoo, bye-bye, they're gone, okay? Because anybody who knows anything about basic genetics, two people can't populate a planet. We wouldn't have gotten this far, because after the second or third generation, everybody would have been mentally ill, deformed, birth defected, and everything else. We wouldn't have made it. We'd had all kind of strange tumors and all kind of stuff, right? So that story is false. The truth is, in the Sumerian tablets, you see that they had created this Eden, Edin, and in this Eden, they had already put hundreds of Homo sapiens in there, and they would have them mate at specific times of the day. It was like a farm, and like you see, you have the horses in the farm and in the barns. And you bring the male horse out to mate with the female horses on these set times and dates and everything else to ensure that they get pregnant, so they can breed more, more horses, so they can race them and sell them for this and that. Well, that's the same thing they were doing with human beings. Okay, it was a breeding farm at the Eden, which was like a outdoor laboratory, basically, with guards. It had guards. It had guards in the Bible version, and it had guards at the gates in the Sumerian version. And these guards will kill you if you get out of line, in both places, in the Bible and in the Sumerian tablets. They will kill you. So it's pretty interesting that they had to have guards there to protect this breeding area where they had the people. And so they tamper with our genetics. This is where we get the book of Genesis, generations of Isis, Genesis. The book of Genesis is the generations of Isis, and now you know why. All right, thanks, Trina. Good question. Let's see here. Christopher Stevenson. Who's older, Enki or Enlil? Please explain the relationship between the two. Thanks, Billy. Oh, yeah. You know what? Unapologetic. You already know. We already know. We ain't playing them games. So the who's older, Enki or Enlil? Enki was older than Enlil, not by much though. And Enki had a higher ranking number than Enlil, but for whatever reason, the Earth was named after Enki because his name is Ea Enki. Ea is the first two digits of his name in caps, and Enki, ki, we know that in ancient Sumerian tongue means earth. So the earth, Ea, and earth, ki, came together to make the name Earth for the planet. But for some reason, he didn't get kingship over Earth. He took over the head of genetics. I guess maybe he was a better geneticist than wanting to be a leader. But it doesn't really say, there's no tablet that clearly says why Enlil, who had a lower rank than him, ended up superseding him and becoming the leader of the planet. So it's pretty interesting to how it happened. Nobody really knows. But Enlil then did that. They're brothers. Enlil and Enki are brothers, and their father is Anu. And, they both had kids. Enki's kids, one of them was Nigajita, who's also known as Thoth. Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, okay, on the front cover of my book, who wrote the Emerald Tablets. His other son was Marduk, who ended up turning out to be an evil guy, really, really evil, brash guy, also known as Amun-Ra to the pre-dynastic Egyptians, who tried to usher in monotheism and create a one-world religion, which he actually ended up doing. All right. Let's see here. Beta God. Is the Olmec part of the Anunnaki, and also are they the first blacks in America? Good question. So I don't know if they're the first blacks in America, but I do know that according to these tablets, what was going on with Thoth and his brother Amun-Ra, aka Marduk, they were having a lot of battles, clashes, hard clashes too. They were fighting, and they were going to war nonstop because Thoth wanted to help humans and help them rise up to higher levels of consciousness, and Marduk only wanted them to. He wanted to masquerade as a god and have humans praying to him and waiting on him and serving him and keeping them dumb, and he would kill them from time to time if they made too much noise and all this kind of crazy stuff. So they were clashing nonstop, and so Enki told Thoth, he says, "Look, let me try to deal with him. You go to the other side. Go over to the other side of the world and start a civilization over there." So he left and went to Mesoamerica. That's the North and South Americas. But he took Olmecs with him, according to these tablets. He took the Olmecs with him, and he went to Mesoamerica and started to build the Teotihuacan civilization, which spanned from the North Americas, the southern part of the North Americas, down in through what we call now Mexico, all the way down in through the Yucatan Peninsula, even down into South America. And so this civilization was built by Thoth and the Olmecs. So he took Africans with him, black Africans from Africa, which Egypt is in Africa, if you didn't know, and brought them to Mesoamerica and began to build these civilizations. The Mayans and the Aztecs and the Incas built absolutely nothing. They built nothing. They were barbaric people, just a slight level above caveman. They stumbled across the area or the regions that had been abandoned by Thoth and the Olmecs for maybe 100 years or so. And they actually moved in and made it their home. That's why you see that these cultures would do things like sacrifice people and rip their heart out and eat the heart. And you say, how can you be so technologically advanced? You can create these advanced structures, but then you're ripping people's hearts out of their chest. The reason why is because they didn't create them. And what I'm telling you is not something off my dome. This is actually taught by the people who are ancestors of the Mayans in Mexico. So if you go there and you get a good homegrown tour guide, they will tell you exactly what I'm telling you, is that the Incas, the Mayans, and the Aztecs inherited what was already there. As a matter of fact, when the Mayans stumbled across the region in the area, they didn't even know what to call the people. They're the ones who gave them the name Teotihuacans. They gave that name to them. The Aztecs, I think it was almost 150 years later, they had a situation in the area they were living in where a volcano erupted, destroyed the valley where they were living. They went hiking and looking for a brand new place to live. They stumbled across what? Teotihuacan. and the Chichen Itza and all of those different areas, Tulum, and they moved in. And so, they took over, and it's all about just inheriting what was already there. So much like the dynastic era Egyptians, they inherited what was already there. A lot of that stuff wasn't built yet. Now, they did build some stuff when they came into power, but pre-dynastic, when it was Kemet, a lot of the stuff was already there. And that's why you see over time, you see the structures go from super megalithic to smaller, smaller, and smaller, even less quality of building. Even some now are dilapidated and falling apart and have to be fixed because they can't stand the test of time. But the further you go back in time, the more incredible the construction technique. The closer you come towards modern time, the worse the construction technique. And it's very visible and very easy to see that as time went on, knowledge was lost. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Let's see. Jamal Watkins, what is the Nibiru? So Nibiru is actually a planet that orbits a brown dwarf star. So Nibiru is talked about. People said there's no record of Nibiru in any text anywhere. Oh, you didn't read the text. If you get the original version of the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation, you'll find that the word Anunnaki is in there. You'll find that the name Anunnaki, the name Igigi, and also the name Nibiru as a planet that orbits another star. That star is a brown dwarf. That brown dwarf star has the same mass as our sun, but is far smaller and much more dim. Hence, because of the name brown dwarf, you can only see it in 2-mass infrared mode from the Worldwide Telescope. But it orbits our sun about every 4,200 years, according to mainstream astronomers, not according to me. It's in the inner Oort cloud area, which means it's part of our solar system, and it orbits our gigantic sun. And Nibiru is a planet that is it's orbiting a star that's on a crazy elliptical orbit around our star. And this orbit takes it, like I said, about 4,200 years. And back during the time of the Sumerians, it had a slightly different orbit. The orbit has changed over time very gradually. It used to orbit every 3,600 years, according to them. They called it a shar. One shar is 3,600 years. And so these beings would count their lifespan by shars because they lived so long. So one shar would be one orbit of Nibiru around our star. And some of these beings were living for, 100 shars, 200 shars. The numbers are just, the time scales are unconceivable in some cases. But if you go and look at the stone tablet at the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England, it's the Sumerian Kings list, which I've seen it and got pictures of me standing right next to it. It tells you about kings that ruled for 28,800 years, 14,400 years. I mean, the numbers are just astronomical. That's the time they ruled. That's not how long they lived. Even you find that Thoth, aka Jehudi, whatever you want to call him, from Africa, ruled over the land of Kemet for 14,000 years on his own as well. So their lifespans are just absolutely incredible. All right. Lance Benefield, did Enki create humans to be the future of the Anunnaki? Yes, he did. Good question. I can see you kind of almost alluding that you kind of really know the answer, which is great because these people need to know this. So when Enki was genetically modifying the existing hominid DNA, he did something a little extra, which caused him a lot of problem and heartache. He set up our genetic pool and our DNA strand and the RNA to be able to reconnect to higher levels and higher dimensions. And at a certain point in the future, that human beings could rise above and supersede the levels that the Anunnaki had gotten to themselves, spiritually and technologically. And his brother Enlil found out about this, and they almost went to war over this. He had a big problem. He was so distraught and so pissed off that the first chance he got, he decided to try to wipe out the entire civilization of human beings on the planet, hence the Great Flood. Okay, but Enki then again intervened because his half son, who was half human and half Anunnaki, Zuzudra, aka Noah in the Bible. He didn't want him to perish, so he gave him a lifeline, told him what's up, and sent him instructions on how to build a ship. Now, this ship wasn't like a ship in the biblical text, because we know that that information was just fabricated. Why do we know this? They found the original record, the original Sumerian tablets with the order to build the ship, and it was shaped like a round disc. And no, he didn't collect two animals from all over the world. They didn't have two grasshoppers and two roaches and two fleas. I mean, come on. Didn't happen like that. That's a fairy tale that they teach you at Bible study. What did happen, though, he was told to collect animals and samples from his local area where he lived, and store those on the ship. And this around this disc shape, almost like a UFO shaped ship, but built of wood. And it's more like a DNA bank is what it was. It wasn't anything like what you saw on any TV show or movie or cartoon growing up. There wasn't two lions walking up behind two deer and all this other kind of foolishness. They need to stop teaching that garbage to people. That stuff screwed. That's like teaching Santa Claus and everything else. It's foolishness. But that's what happened. So yeah, they created human beings to become higher than the level of the Anunnaki. And the thing that proved this is the incident at the Tower of Babel, when Enlil came back from wherever he went to. He comes back and see the humans building a tower that rivaled the Anunnaki's tower, and they were putting a Shem on top. A Shem is a rocket ship or a rocket top or something that lifts off the top. Whatever that was, it pissed him off. He destroyed the tower. He changed or confused the language. He made people change their languages by force, and he moved people around the different parts of the planet, probably the leaders of the different areas who had helped to collaborate, and spread them out so they couldn't communicate anymore. And because he was like, man, y'all getting too powerful. So, all right. Let's see here. Jacob Green. Billy, do you believe that the pyramids could have been used as weapons by the Anunnaki? I don't think that the pyramids were used as weapons. I believe that the pyramids were multifunctional stone computers that had several functions. For example, the Great Pyramid at Giza had multiple functions. The first function would be that it was a power generator. It was close to the Nile. The Nile's not there anymore, but back then the Nile ran right up to the pyramid. And we know this for a fact because of geology. And when you look underneath the pyramid, you can see the tubules where the water would flow underneath the magnetized crystal granite. When it would flow underneath the magnetized crystal granite, it would create something called physiostatic electricity, and positive ions would rise up into the pyramid. And then they would be stepped up, going up into the grand gallery with resonating chambers, resonating rods. And then once it got into the king's chamber, it would then be amped up again and shot up through the apex from the capstone, which is missing. And then that would become ambient electricity within the atmosphere that can be picked up by obelisks. So the crystal obelisks were like antenna that would capture this ambient electricity and then transmit it to JED pillars. If you had a JED pillar with you, you can pick up the energy that's in the atmosphere, and you can connect the cable to the JED pillar to a light bulb, to a device. They had electroplating back then. We already know this because we found millions of pieces of electroplated gold. We found the fact that they have etched into the stone that they had light bulbs. We know they had light bulbs because when they did these underground crypts and all these tombs with all the painting in these areas where there's no oxygen except for what comes in through the opening, there's no way to pivot mirrors to get the light to go in there. There's no soot because they didn't burn torches. So we know that they used light bulbs to do this amazing work. So they had technology, they had electricity, and the pyramid was that. Also, the pyramid was a communications device, the Great Pyramid. The shafts that come out that point at the different star systems are aligned with Aldebaran, Orion, Sirius, and various other star systems. Well, at certain times of alignments, when those shafts are perfectly aligned with those stars, something incredible happens. Water from underneath the pyramid would flow into the Queen's chamber, which used to use a version of electrolysis to extract hydrogen from the oxygen, from the water, from the H2O, and it would then beam hydrogen towards those stars. Why hydrogen? Because we discovered that the best way to communicate, if we're trying to communicate with ET, is on the hydrogen frequency. And so they would piggyback a message on that hydrogen and shoot it towards those star systems, kind of giving them an update. In my opinion, this is my own hypothesis now as to what's going on down here, where we are, how far we've advanced, what we're doing, or whatever. but I believe that's what it was. And so, that's just a couple things. But then also the dimensions of the Great Pyramid gives you so much information about the Earth. You can, based on the dimension of the pyramid, you see that it's 432,000 times the scale of Earth. So if you scaled it up 43,200 times, all of a sudden you realize that it fits directly inside the sphere of the Earth. It can calculate the distance of the Earth to the moon, the Earth to the sun, the speed of the Earth on its axis, the speed of the Earth around the sun, and the speed of the sun around the galactic equator, and even the speed of our galaxy amongst the local cluster. That's a lot of calculations built into one thing, one structure. Pretty amazing stuff. All right. Ryan D. Billy, why are the Anunnaki so prevalent in the ancient past, but now nowhere to be seen in the present day? Well, kind of covered that a little bit. They had a big war, and during that war, a lot of them left. This Earth, this planet became an abandoned seed colony. That's what this Earth became. It was a seed colony before the Anunnaki got here that had risen to its own high level of technological advancement. And then something happened, most likely a geological disaster, and that collapsed us. And then the Anunnaki came here, which are the Atlantean people, and they took advantage of our down or fallen state. We were back into caveman stages, and then not that we were cavemen, but we were living off the land. We weren't technological at the time that they arrived. They took advantage of that. They took advantage of our ignorance, and they masqueraded as gods. So now in modern times, I mean, to us, they've been gone for a long time, but in reality, it's only been not that much time at all, less than a blink of an eye on geological timescales. And so the fact that these beings are still out there, probably still coming by, probably still watching and checking up on us, the ones who decided to stop by and take a look. Oh, look, we used to run this place. Now look at this. Look how they got it going now, And so it's pretty interesting. The Black Knight satellite could be transmitting updates to them on a consistent basis, telling them how far we've advanced and if we're taking weapons into space. Maybe that's a big concern for them. Maybe if we get to the point where we begin to take weapons into space, then they'll show up and we'll have somebody to contend with. But we'll see. The Johnny 374, did the Anunnaki use industrial hemp? I don't know if it didn't specifically say hemp, but it does show that they had access to marijuana, and they used to utilize they used to extract the oil from the marijuana. They didn't smoke it. They extracted the oil from it, the THC and the CBD, and they would mix it with monatomic gold and colloidal silver to make something called the elixir of life. And they would give it to the heroes of old, or they called them the savants. It would be for healing them, for healing wounds and organs and injuries, and keeping their mind clear and functioning properly, and all that kind of good stuff. All right. Let's see here. A lot of good questions tonight, guys. I appreciate everything you guys are asking. So Guadalupe, when is the planet Nibiru passing through? So the planet Nibiru is so far away, and its orbit is so far away as it orbits its brown dwarf. It's not going to really have any effect on us other than a gravitational wave. That gravitational wave is going to create warming of ice caps and cores, and because it creates friction, and which could cause some slippage on some tectonic plates. Could see some extra earthquakes on its closest approach. But it won't collide with us. It won't collide with the planets in our solar system. It's not going to create a global disaster. It's not going to end life on the planet Earth, by the way. So just to let you know. Okay, now, real quick, let me just take a quick break because I told you I would mix in a couple of these updates in between the Q&A. I'll be right back to the Q&A in a second, but let me give you a couple of updates. The first one is we have Forbidden Solutions coming up. So Forbidden Solutions is a roundtable discussion, okay? That's going to be hosted exclusively on Forbidden Knowledge TV. I'm going to get the link right now. Exclusively on Forbidden Knowledge TV, and that's coming this Sunday. It's going to be an amazing 3 hours live stream in 4K video. It's going to be 19 Keys, Mike Rashid, Dr. Be Serious, and me together in one room, live streaming to you on Forbidden Knowledge TV, the Forbidden Solutions for Humanity. We're going to be discussing all the world's problems. At least not, we can't discuss them all in 3 hours, but we're going to some of the top ones, and we're going to be discussing how do we bring solutions to these problems so that we can begin to manifest solutions. Instead of focusing only on problems, we're going to change the way that the world functions, the way that we're thinking about problems in the world. We have to stop focusing on the problems. We have to start focusing on solutions to problems so that we begin to then attract, through a law of attraction, new solutions instead of attracting more problems. The more we focus on problems, the more problems we get. The more we focus on solutions, the more solutions we're going to get. And so we're talking about the Forbidden Solutions for Humanity. I just dropped the link in the chat. You can register on Eventbrite for free, all right? And sign up for that. You have to be a subscriber to Forbidden Knowledge TV to watch it, but you can get the free trial and still watch it for free. So I'm going to play this short video. It's only about a minute. Check it out. This is the Forbidden Solutions for Humanity, and that's coming up this Sunday from 3 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. If I can find the video here. Let's see. This is it here. For the first time ever, 4 world-renowned thought leaders have come together under one roof to discuss and bring forth the solutions that will reshape the future of humanity on this planet. 19 Keys, Mike Rashid, Dr. Be Serious, and myself, Billy Carson, have all come from different backgrounds and different perspectives, but we all have one common goal. We want to provide solutions that will change the world. Witness us 4 men bring the solutions to humanity, and this event is going to create a paradigm shift on Earth. We will be bringing palatable solutions that can be acted on and will create opportunities for change that will be long-lasting. This event will be free as long as you subscribe to Forbidden Knowledge TV. You can watch it. Even if you're not a subscriber, all you have to do is get the free trial and watch it anyway. This mind-blowing roundtable discussion is available on eventbrite.com. So click the link because space is limited. All right. I want to drop the link in the chat one more time, just in case you didn't get it. The Forbidden Solutions for Humanity. It's going to be a mind-blowing, first of its kind event that hasn't been done yet. We're going to start teaching the world to focus on solutions instead of problems. This is the first talk of many. Other people will begin to have their own discussions, panel discussions, roundtable discussions. And we're going to start this new trend of people talking about solutions to problems in a very collaborative way and trying to find a way to start those solutions, be a part of them, create them. So it's going to be a new way. We have always heard the term that said, if you want to see light in the world, then you need to be the light. It's the same thing for manifesting the world's solutions to problems. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And these men have dedicated their time to come down and fly down here and come, leave their homes and their work to come sit down with me in a studio so that we can have this roundtable discussion to help people all around the world and show you the power that 4 minds can come together and bring forth real knowledge that can possibly create real change if we act on it. And then how do we then encourage other people to begin to do the same thing? Because remember, when you're trying to manifest something, whatever you're focused on the most is what you're going to get back from the universe. It's not all about good things, and it's not all about getting riches and money. If you're focused on darkness and turmoil and anguish and punishment and destruction, that's what you're going to continue to get back. You ever go down your social media feed and you start tapping on some stuff that's like police brutality and some crazy fight in Walmart parking lot. And then the more you scroll, the more crazy stuff you see. You're like, wait a minute, how come this stuff just keeps popping up? It's because you're only focusing on all these negative things. Once you start focusing on the positive things, it changes. So it's the same thing. That algorithm that runs Instagram and Facebook and all the other platforms, they stole that algorithm from the universe. They stole that algorithm from the law of attraction. That's where they got the algorithm from. It exists in real time and on the original platform that we're inhabiting. And so we need to change the way we think and the way we see things. And that's what's going to change the world. And that's why we're doing this. So we would love you all to please participate by signing up for free. Doesn't cost you any money. And please register for Forbidden Knowledge TV. Just get the free trial and then watch it. If you want to watch the other 6,000 programs on the platform, you might love it and you might want to stay. It's only 25 cents a day. It ain't going to break you. It's only going to teach you. And you can get your kids on there and give them some real knowledge and not this fake garbage that they're getting in school and on the street. So you can change your family's life as well. All right. Now, let's get back to some Q&A. And before I come up with my next announcement, if the gods were just dudes, what was the role of the prayer to them? So good question. This is Chris Badal. So what he's saying is this, that if these were just people, these are just flesh and blood people, why would they want prayers? Okay, let me tell you something. These people were so sick and sadistic. When they decided to begin to masquerade as gods, they really started to develop a God complex. You can see it as you're reading the tablets. Like when you first read the tablets, like when they first got here, versus as you're reading as time is going by, right, according to these tablets, how they become more self-righteous and commanding people to do this and commanding people to do that and bring me my food. The offerings was the food that they would eat. You learn this when you go to Egypt with me. They'll tell you, the pyramid priests will tell you, they would have people bringing offerings. It wasn't to the people that thought they were pleasing God, but what they were doing was bringing these people food to eat because they're not going to go hunting, man. They're not going to go hunting and go crops in the field. You bring it to them. And that became a ritual, which still goes on to this day. All right. You bring your fresh meat. You bring your first harvest. That was their food. And so these people were just purely masquerading as gods. The prayers, in some cases, served a couple of purposes. One purpose, like, for example, the Lord's Prayer, which was Ptah's prayer, who was Enki's prayer. You know, the Lord's Prayer, that's not from any spiritual person in the Bible. The Lord's Prayer comes from Ptah. This is pre-dynastic Egypt. That's Enki. And the prayer is, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, so we forgive our debtors. But lead us not into temptation. You know, that prayer, well, that prayer is an ancient prayer. And the reason why they had these prayers was for one reason. One reason was to get the people to look up to them and praise them and give thanks to them, so that they felt like if I give you a day off, or if I give you a little bit of leniency over here, or if I tell you, give you these shekels, you feel like you're getting something from the gods. You feel so happy and so blessed and pleased that the gods smiled upon you. It was more of a control thing. And in some cases, it was just more of such an ego thing. It was almost like, energy vampire, like Marduk was an energy vampire. He got so crazy. He wanted nobody to worship Enki and Lil. He didn't want anybody worshiping Thoth. He didn't want all these other gods, quote unquote gods that were out here, which was his cousins and relatives. He said, there'll be no other God but me, because I'm a jealous God. That actually made it into the Bible. So these people became completely self-righteous. But here's where they screwed up. In the text, they say, the creator of all we have to reckon with the creator of all for what we did here. We're going to have to reckon with the creator of all for what we did here. So they knew there was a creator of all. They didn't say God. They called it a creator of all. So they knew they weren't it, even though they were pretending to be it in some cases. So pretty interesting stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. All right. Don Solo, Billy, what do you think of Enki, aka King Yahweh? Is he back? So Enki is actually not Yahweh. Enlil is actually Yahweh. So there's been a little misconfusion there with who is which. So when you go into the tablets, you discover that Enlil is actually Yahweh, and Enlil was the one that was treating people harshly and evil. And then when he almost got kind of caught doing it, he started blaming the evil acts that he was doing to people, to humans, on his brother, Enki. And then he started to call his brother a serpent and a snake and Satan, the devil, and everything else, because people started calling Yahweh Satan, the Lord of Eden, because he was the Lord of Eden. And he was like, no, he's the evil one, him. So he was like, he started trying to put the blame on his brother. Cold World, is Enki or Enlil Marduk's father? Enki is Marduk's father. And so Enki is responsible for Amun Ra. So if you say Amen to at the end of your prayer, you know, they got to thank Enki's his offspring for that one. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna answer a few more questions, but before I do that, I'm going to show you this amazing thing we have coming up. It's a raffle. Remember when I raffled off the Rolls Royce a couple of years ago, and we gave away a Rolls Royce Ghost, and we the person that won, his name was Austin Nelson. The video is on this account. Now, when you win a car like that, you have to pay taxes to take delivery of the car, so you can get the tag and the taxes. You can get the tag on it, then you can sell it. But he couldn't afford the taxes. I mean, it's pretty high. I mean, it's a Rolls Royce Ghost. So what we did was we agreed to sell it for him. So we sold it for him, and after taxes, he got a check for $88,000. Well, he actually got a bank wire, but he has a symbolic check that he held up for $88,000, which was amazing. And that helped him because he actually started off, he was homeless. He spent his last $50 on this ticket that he bought for that raffle. It got him off of an airbed into his own apartment. He was on an air mattress, got his own apartment, got a very inexpensive, nice car, and moved in from California to Austin, Texas. So Austin moved to Austin. This is an interview we did with him. You can check it out. And then he invested money into his business and got himself going again. He's now stable. So that one ticket that he bought to get the Rolls Royce changed his life all the way around completely, that one ticket. And we now have another raffle coming up, okay? We have a brand new raffle. We're giving away a Mercedes-Benz. And it's a C43 AMG 2020 Mercedes-Benz luxury sports car. It's an amazing car. It's in my garage right now. As you know, just like with the Rolls Royce, I would go in my garage with the phone on live. I'll be doing that too. Tomorrow, I'll probably go live, sitting in the car and everything else. But the car is available. I'm going to drop the link to where you can get a raffle ticket right now. A percentage of this money goes to help underprivileged children, which is why Elizabeth is doing it. This is actually her car, and she, instead of just getting rid of it or selling it without no benefit for anybody, she decided to raffle it off. So I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. If you want to participate in this Mercedes-Benz raffle, this car is actually a lot more affordable than a Rolls-Royce Ghost in terms of people who won't win it may want to just keep it, because you can actually, most people can probably afford to take care of it. It's only got, I think, 12,000 miles right now, which is brand new. The car is spotless. It's an amazing, immaculate condition. 12,000 miles. Warranty still on the car. Still has a warranty. So the car still is fully warranted, bumper to bumper. And so if you win this amazing car, you'll have a chance to take advantage of it and have it shipped to you no matter where you are. And it'll be shipped to you no matter where you are in the world. Just like the same exact rules we had for the Rolls Royce. Same exact rules go for the Mercedes-Benz AMG. This is a full AMG. Not an imitation AMG, but a real AMG engine, the loud pipes, that comes from the factory. You can press a button in the car to turn the pipe sound down, though, if you want to. It's all built into the car. The AMG wheels, the AMG steering wheel, the whole works. $44 a ticket. I think the maximum tickets you can buy are 11 for $444. But it's amazing. And don't forget, a portion of the proceeds will be donated to communities and schools of Michigan to help underprivileged children, which we just did a video with the board of directors on this YouTube account just a week ago. You can check that video out, because all the money we've been getting from all the chat donations has been going to help these kids. All right. So we appreciate you. Okay. Let me take this down and we'll get back to some Q&A before I got to get out of here. All right. Let's get back to the comments feed. Somebody said, how do you buy a raffle ticket? You click the link that I'm dropping in the comment feed right now. There's also a link in the caption of this video. All right. Cully Duncan L. Did the Anunnaki use particle colliders and a black hole technology to harvest ether ether and prima material on Earth? That's a good question. Now, if I were to just answer that question, I couldn't give you any source material for the answer. So I can only give you my hypothesis, but I can't give you any backed up sources, which you guys know I like to bring always. I like to always talk with sources, and if I don't have a source, I'll tell you my own hypothesis of something that comes out of my own head. Now, I think that they had a lot of technology. They appeared to have been about 1 million years older than us or advanced than us, which is a lot of years, because look where human beings came from only 100 years ago. We were in a horse, buggy, and carriage, right? Horse, buggy, and carriage. And now we have the capability of putting probes, and we have a probe now that has already left the outer Oort cloud. It's gone, all right? It's already interstellar space. So we've come a long way. We've got quantum computers now. We've got DNA storage hard drives and all this kind of stuff. Teleportation has been accomplished. We've got a lot of accomplishments we've done in 100 years. Imagine another race of people that are 1 million years ahead. The technology that they can have, that they can wield, would be unimaginable. It would look like magic in our eyes. So could they have the type of technology? It's very quite possible. I just don't know because I haven't seen any text that can back it up. But I believe when you're that far advanced, that pretty much anything you can think of, they've probably accomplished or close to it. All right. Do Atlanteans currently live under the ocean? Good question, because we know that in the Sumerian tablets, Enki made his abode underwater. And what's really weird about that one is when you look at a lot of accounts of UFOs, you see a lot of USOs, right? These are ships that are coming up out of the ocean. And even Christopher Columbus in his captain's log, and captains don't just write stuff in their log. In the Christopher Columbus captain's log, while they were sailing across the ocean, they saw a UFO come up out of the ocean and take off into the night sky. Now, I got to remember, back then there were no lights, not even on the boat. The boat only had torches. So imagine for them to write this down and say that something bright as the sun came out of the ocean and took off into the night sky and lit up the sky. So, and there's many, many accounts like that where UFOs are coming out of water. So I believe that there could be still bases there now today. That's my opinion. Terrence Tech, how does the name Allah relate? Connection to names Elohim, Yahweh, which Sumerian gods also own these names. Okay, gotcha. So we have Allah, who's Anu. Anu was the father of Enki and Enlil. And so I have this whole thing that I'm coming out with, this whole family tree. It's about, I think it's 7 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. That's how big it is to create this family tree, so everybody can, if you want to get it, it's going to be available on my website. It's made of like a vinyl, so it's very sturdy. You can put it up on a wall, and it'll give you the whole Anunnaki family tree. I'm working on that now. Actually, it's created by Gerald Clark. So I'm working. The late great Gerald Clark, bless his heart, he's gone. He's left, just went to another dimension. He's already gone through the doors of Arulu, the gates of Arulu. But his wife Krista is got a lot of his work that was left behind, and she's going to help me get those together, and so we can begin to get those out to people. I'll probably have a giveaway too with one of those, or a couple of them at least. And then also Elohim, which means Elohim is plural. It's a plural term. So Elohim is a plural term meaning many. And so they're talking about the gods with an S. In the Bible, there is no God singular. Everywhere where you see the word God, it's supposed to be an S at the end. But through the translation, they accidentally on purpose left the S off, even though the S is supposed to be there. Gods, plural. And Elohim is another way of saying gods. So they're referencing these Anunnaki beings that were here. They were supreme beings. They weren't normal humans. They had a lot of what appeared to be powers or superpowers, which means they had technology that had probably combined with spirituality or spiritual technology. Plus they had technology probably embedded into their clothes and everything else. So they looked like they were all knowing, all powerful, but they were just more advanced people than us. And Yahweh is actually Enlil, one of the most evil of them all. This guy would, if you read the tablets, this guy would just kill off 100,000 humans because they were making too much noise. He would dry out their crops so they would starve to death. He's the one who redirected the asteroid to hit the planet to create the global flood. I mean, just thing after thing in these tablets. He was just one of the most evil dudes. This guy was just so evil. So that's who Yahweh was. So it's pretty interesting. But that big family tree is coming out very soon. So hold tight. All right. Jeremy Cruz, it's hard to wrap my mind around a civilization being 1 million years old. I know. But if you think about this, Jeremy, just imagine this for a second. So the universe is about 13.5, 13.6 billion years old. Okay. Billion. That's a big number. And so now you look at, our sun is only about a half. Yes, our sun is about 5 billion years old, and it's got about 5 more billion years to go. This solar system, we have planets here that are billions of years old, but there are other galaxies that exist that are older, far older than our galaxy, far older than the Milky Way. And there's even stars in the Milky Way that are far older than our star. So the chances for life popping up, 300 million years ago and then having a chance to develop to be 1 million years more technologically advanced than us, highly likely. So it's pretty interesting that what you have to look at is geological timescales and how relatively new our solar system actually is compared to others in the universe. We're kind of the new kids on the block. Let me see if there's one more thing I had to talk about. It's almost have time for me to go. Oh yeah, the Forbidden Conscious Awards, which are very important here. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me put this up here. I also want to hold on a second. Let me get this other link up. Yeah, let me grab this. I want to talk about a class that's coming up. I'm doing a special class on divine masculinity, the rites of passage for the modern man. It's going to be Mike Rashid and me, Billy Carson. It's going to be an amazing, powerful workshop. And we're going to begin to teach men again. Men need to be taught the rites of passage. Rites of passage has gone to the wayside. It doesn't even exist anymore. And we've got to begin to raise our young men better and teach them better. And we're going to starting with this rites of passage workshop that's coming up. I just dropped the link in the chat, and the link is also in the caption of this video. So you got to check it out. It's going to be an amazing day. It's going to be an amazing class with Mike Rashid and me, Billy Carson. And that is coming up, I believe, March 11th. It's something that you don't want to miss. If you know any young men, anything from teenage all the way to about the age of 35, 36, they need to see what we have to say. They need to learn what we're going to teach them. It's going to be very, very powerful. And women need to know what is going on in the minds of men as well. So women should be tuning in, because there's a lot of things that we're going to talk to you about that's going to help you understand your man or potentially men out there. So it's going to be an amazing discussion. It's probably going to be a 5-hour class on March 11th, something you don't want to miss. It's going to be very, very deep and very, very powerful. All right. And then we do have the Forbidden Conscious Awards. Now, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And before I go back to my Q&A, I'm going to go back to the Q&A, but let me share the screen for a second because I want to walk you guys through this. We're going to have this at the venue in Miami. It's called the Adrian Arch Center, and it's an amazing venue. And let me go here, present, share screen. I want to share my screen with you guys for a second. And then I want to find that. Here we go. All right. Is it up there? Okay, share. There we go. Let me make sure. Okay, there you go. Now, so this is forbiddenknowledge.com. This is the link at the top that says Forbidden Conscious Awards. These are the categories that we have. So we're looking to nominate. You're going to help us nominate winners in these categories by voting. And the voting is live now. You can actually vote now for your favorite person in any of these categories. Social media influencer, podcast radio host, music artist, producer, TV host, actor, director, producer, entrepreneur, health and wellness, philanthropists, authors, field researchers / archaeologists, space anomaly hunters, Lifetime Achievement Award. You can help us by going to this link. I'm going to drop the link inside the chat here in a second. Scroll through this. This is the venue right here. This is an amazing venue, the Adrian Arts Center in Miami. You can buy your tickets right here to attend the event live. It's going to be over 1,000 people. They're a red carpet event, first class, better than the Oscars, better than the Emmys, better than the Grammys. It's going to be amazing. I'll be performing. I'll be speaking and teaching as well. So you're going to get that. You got to have the knowledge. You have to have the knowledge. I'll be the keynote speaker, and I'll be announcing the Lifetime Achievement Award as well to whoever wins that. But you can come here and you can text your winner to this number for any categories. Put the category and who you think should win it. And you can also nominate by web ballot if you're international, because that text number doesn't work internationally. So click on nominate. If you're in any other country than the US, click on nominate and fill out the form and select your winners, who you want to be nominated for any of those categories. Okay. It doesn't matter who they are. If you want to nominate somebody, fill out that form. You have a chance to vote for the people that you think have been providing assistance to the community and helping mankind raise their consciousness and whatever else you think. And then you can buy your tickets to the event right here. So you can actually get tickets to come see us and be in the event live. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a mind-blowing night, July 30th, 2023, this year. Get your tickets now before they sell out. All right. I'm going to drop the link to this in the chat. Just drop the link to the Forbidden Conscious Awards. So you can go in there and you can start voting. Go in there and start voting ASAP for your favorite people in any category that you feel deserves to be nominated for an award, because it's time to give people their flowers while they're still alive. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Just looking here, there's so many. All right, I see somebody voted for Brother Rich, Cosmic Royalty X47. Brother Rich got my vote. Listen, I'm voting for him too. Okay, I'm voting for him too. This dude's amazing. Do you believe in the Admiral Byrd hypothesis and the statements about Antarctica? Yes, I do, because Admiral Byrd made those statements himself. There's a voice recording of him actually making those statements out of his own mouth. But he's saying that when he went to Antarctica, that they saw these UFOs basically that were attacking their Navy vessels and destroyed some of the Navy ships and sent them home with their tail between their legs. So I do believe that it was accurate, that it was true, and that the Nazis had somehow gained the upper hand with some type of ancient technology down there in Antarctica that they used to fight against this Navy fleet that went down there to see what they were doing. So it's a pretty interesting story. Kay says, you talk a lot about the Anunnaki masquerading as God, but what do you know about the actual gods they worshipped? Okay, so the Anunnaki, they said that they worship the creator of all. That's who they worship, the creator of all. So according to them, there was something above them that they claim to have created everything, which includes them, you know, themselves. So they themselves. So there's obviously something, according to them, higher than them, even though they pretended to be the highest level to us, but they knew there was something more. Okay, because they made that statement numerous times in the tablets, numerous times. All right, guys, I wish I could hang out here all night, but it's been an hour and 15 minutes, and I have to now go and put on a suit and make commercials for some of the other events that we have going on. So I can't stay on here all night, but I want to thank every single person for coming in here tonight and spending some time with me. giving me a chance to answer some questions on a pop-up Q&A that you didn't even know was going to happen. I got to share some information with you, and some links are in the chat, also in the caption of this video. So you can go to the caption of this video if you want to participate with the Forbidden Conscious Awards. If you want to vote for anyone, start voting for these people. Stop waiting. Don't hesitate. Just vote now, because we need to know who these people are going to be before the show starts so we can get them trophies. Okay, we could fly them down first class, put them in a 5-star hotel, pick them up in a limo, the whole works. If you want somebody to feel like they're, appreciated for what they've contributed to your life and your consciousness, then vote for them. So go to that link that I dropped. I'm going to drop it one more time. Start voting for people for the Forbidden Conscious Award ASAP, as well as don't forget about the raffle. I dropped the link to the raffle in there. You can get those raffle tickets for $44 for the C43 AMG, which is a fast car. The power to weight ratio on that car is just crazy. So the car is lightning fast. If you like fast cars, it goes. I've dropped the link in there one more time. Don't forget about that. And don't forget about the Forbidden Solutions for Humanity, which is coming up this Sunday, 3 hours. Mike Rashid, 19 Keys, Dr. B. Serious, and me, Billy Carson. It's going to be an amazing day. All right. Let me stop the screen share. I first I got see. There we go. All right. And it's going to be an amazing day. I dropped all those links back in the chat again one more time. And again, once again, thanks for spending time with me tonight. I appreciate you. All right. Love you guys. And I will see you again next time. Peace. Third Eye Love.